What if warmth was never our teacher? What if the first lesson of being human was not sun on skin, but breath turning to ice at the lips, fingers burning with cold, and a sky that punished the unprepared? 8.9 million years ago, if our lineage had emerged under the white glare of polar ice, would we have learned to endure before we learned to speak? Would courage be measured in how long one holds a wind-swept ridge while the storm claws at bone? The story begins in motion. A band of late Miocene hominins, broad-chested, long-armed fur matted by frost, crosses a glacial steppe at dawn. The light is glassy and hard. The horizon is a blade. Their feet drum a rhythm over crusted snow, weaving between exposed stones and low scrub twisted by wind. Breath hisses, eyes narrow. No one lingers. The smallest rides against a mother's chest bound there with plaited grass and hide. Survival is carried, not promised. They halt at a rise where the ice has retreated and revealed a ribbon of dark water. Two females kneel, cupping leaves into trembling bowls to ferry water to the old and to the young. A male with a scarred thigh chips at a river stone, coaxing a flake that shines like a shard of the sun. It will be a scraper, then a blade, then a memory of a morning when hands defied the cold. Nearby, a youth lifts a sprig of bitter green from beneath the snow, crushes it, and presses its pungent paste onto a split-knuckle herb against infection, stubborn faith against the unseen. The hunt is not chosen, it is required. Seals surface in the black channel, breath smoking into the air, before vanishing under the skin of ice. The band fans out bodies low, using the wind as cover. Spears are only saplings hardened over ember and scraped to a murderous taper, but in a world of hunger, sharpened intent is a weapon of its own. Two elders tap signals into the snow with staffs. 3 taps to slow, 1 tap to freeze. No words. The meaning is older than language. A young male edges along a hummocked ridge, eyes fixed on a breathing hole. The ice pops like a knuckle. A head appears slick, shining alive. The hunter lunges. The spear bites shallow. The seal thrashes, vanishes, resurfaces into chaos. The band converges. It is not elegance. It is insistence. A second spear finds meat. The water reddens. The wind steals the heat of victory as fast as it's made. They work quickly. One cuts 2 haul, one guards the child. The guard hears at first the low, rolling cough of a polar cat hunting the hunters. The band stiffens. The matriarch steps forward. Shoulders square her face carved from centuries that haven't happened yet. She plants a spear butt into the ice, claims a line that cannot be crossed. Behind her, 3 juveniles drag meat toward a cleft of rock, a temporary fortress under a lip of black basalt. The cold makes cowards of fingers. They move anyway. Ice-cracking thunder rolls from the white distance. Clouds collapse toward them like falling walls. A storm is marching. Decision fractures into tasks. 2 race to gather brittle driftwood and dried lichen. One shapes a nest of grass and bone splinters to catch a spark. Another wedges seal fat into a shallow stone to promise a longer burn. A small one is tucked into a sling of furs, inside the rock-cleft soot stripes, cross-hatched on the doorway to break their scent. The band becomes a machine built from bone breath and urgency. They strike stone to stone, coaxing the ember that does not want to live. The wind refuses to let it grow. A female cups the spark with her body, turning her back to the gale arm a living wall. The ember becomes a tongue, then a mouth, then a fragile, furious heart of flame. Smoke mixes with snow. The cave mouth glows like an eye awakening. Across the ice, the cat appears white on white, a ripple of muscle and hunger. The matriarch raises her spear. The band tightens into a crescent, points forward, backs to stone, young at the center. Above them, the sky lowers. The first snow of the storm arrives sideways. The cat stalks closer, its paws soundless over the crusted ice. Its eyes, two amber fires in the storm's dim light. Every muscle in the band coils the air thick with the weight of instinct. They are not predators here. They are prey who have chosen not to flee. The matriarch tilts her chin, a silent command. Spears lower in unison, tips glinting against the pale horizon. Behind them, the seal's blood still steams, a red invitation the cat cannot ignore. Hunger calls to both species. Survival permits no sharing. The first lunge comes sudden, a blur of muscle, fur, and teeth. A young male meets it with his spear, the tip striking hide, but not deep enough. The cat twists, slashing, leaving him sprawled in the snow. Blood wells hot against the cold. He gasps, but his cry is lost in the howl of wind. Two more thrust forward, striking together. One spear pierces a flank. The other glances off bone. The cat snarls, staggering, but not surrendering. It leaps again, this time toward the matriarch. She does not retreat. She pivots, using her weight, and the frozen ground itself driving her spear up and through. A scream splits the air, half human, half beast. The storm becomes a wall around them, blinding, deafening. Yet, in the chaos, the cat collapses, legs kicking once, twice, then stillness. The silence after is heavier than the storm itself. The young male, bleeding but alive, is pulled back into the circle. His wound is bound with strips of hide, soaked in crushed herbs. The smell of iron smoke and sweat fills the small shelter they drag themselves toward. Inside the basalt cleft, the fire grows shielded from the gale by stone and flesh. They huddle close, bodies pressed tight, not for warmth alone, but for survival as one. Meat is stripped in silence, fat rendered into fuel. The seal that cost so much now feeds them all, the wounded, the old, the children with eyes wide from fear. The cat's pelt is dragged inside as well, not wasted, but honored, its heat transformed into a blanket for the newborn cradled at the center. Hours stretch. The storm batters, but inside there is rhythm, the hiss of melting fat, the crackle of fire, the steady breathing of a tribe that chose to fight. The young male, fevered but alive, leans against his kin, while a female chews bitter roots into a paste and presses it against his torn flesh. Pain marks him, but so too does survival. His eyes close, not in surrender, but in trust. When dawn breaks, the storm recedes, leaving a world reshaped. The snow is sculpted into ridges like frozen waves, the horizon sharp as a blade. They emerge from the cleft, slowly carrying the pelt, carrying the fire, cradled in a stone bowl, carrying the knowledge that blood, both given and spilled, can be the thread that binds them. The land remains merciless, but the band remains together. Where once they had only fear, now they carry a memory of triumph, fragile, yet unyielding. And so they walk on into the white expanse that has made them what they are. As the ice-stung wind calms and the storm fades into silence, the tribe steps from the shelter, their breath hanging like smoke in the brittle dawn. Around them lies the memory of the night, a dead cat, whose pelt now warms their children, a seal whose flesh fuels their strength, and a scarred young male whose survival is stitched with herb's fire and the will of his people. What might have been an ending becomes a beginning, proof that even in the cruelest landscape life can be carved from defiance. They move together across the white horizon, the fire carried carefully in a stone bowl, its flame a fragile heartbeat against the endless cold. Each step presses into snow that hides both danger and promise. Above the sky clears, revealing not emptiness but guidance, the arc of stars, the pale sun, the paths only the bold can follow. In this frozen crucible, they are no longer wanderers but survivors, bound by blood, by fire, by courage. And so the myth is born that humanity, even at its most primitive, does not merely endure. It transforms fear into memory wounds, into lessons, and storms into legends of survival.